Hello everyone, praise the Lord, very good morning. I am grateful to God that God has helped us to meet together even in this wonderful morning to meditate His wonderful word. May God speak to us and reveal Himself to us through this spiritual breakfast session. May God open our hearts and we shall become the better believers and the children of God as we meditate the living God. Today's meditation is from the same verse that we have been meditating for a few days, 3 days. Even today we will be meditating from the same verse, Nehemiah chapter 9 verse 3. They stood where they were and read from the book of the law of the Lord their God for a quarter of the day, and spent another quarter in confession and in worshipping the Lord their God. We have been meditating about three things that they did. Nehemiah gathered the Israelites and they were about to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, and even before they were to build the walls of Jerusalem, he wanted to prepare the people and he wanted to ask God to help them to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. So he gathered everyone, so we meditated, they left everything and they came together, and then they came in fasting, and during the fasting there were 4 things that happened as we meditated, and we are meditating all those 4 things. The first thing was they left the world and they came together, then the word of God was read, and then they were confessing their sins, and now we read the last part of the verse, in worshipping the Lord their God. If you see, the purpose that they have been gathered over there is not what we meditate here. The purpose they are gathered here is to seek for the help of the Lord, so to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, to rebuild the city. They wanted to get the help of God. They wanted to prepare themselves with the help of God. So that's why they are gathered, that's why they are fasting, and that God has to be with them and He should lead them. But in that fasting, if you look at the verse we meditated, all the 4 points or all the 4 activities, you will never see asking them to God, please help us. But instead, they spend most of the time of their fasting in other things. They spent their time in reading the word of God or the law of God. They spent the time in confessing their sins, and finally we see they spent time in worshipping God. My dear brothers and sisters, most of the times our fasting has begun whenever we need something, we fast. Whenever we have a big need and we believe normal prayer cannot work, so we have to fast, that's when we fast. But whenever we come to prayer with fasting, we immediately present our request to God. And if the fasting is for 1 hour, the duration is 1 hour, the fasting and prayer the duration is 1 hour, we always spend the 1 hour by presenting our request and God. But we don't seek, or we don't worship, we don't read Bible, we don't read the word of God. I tell you, if you have planned to pray for 1 hour, spend 45 to 50 minutes in just worshipping God. It is not necessary that during the fasting you will have to only present all your requests. So whenever you come to fast, first spend most of the time in worshipping God. So when you worship God, He will be pleased and He will answer all your prayers. God bless you. ஹாய், இந்த ஆவிக்குரிய சிற்றல் நிகழ்ச்சி உங்களுக்கு நிச்சயமாக ஆசீர்வாதமாக இருக்கும் என்று சொல்லி கர்த்தருக்குள் விசுவாசிக்கிறோம். தொடர்ந்து நீங்கள் இந்த வீடியோவை ஹை குவாலிட்டியில நீங்கள் பார்க்க விரும்பினால் நீங்கள் எங்களுடைய யூடியூப் சேனலை நீங்கள் சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணலாம். நிச்சயமாக ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் அதில் நாங்கள் இந்த வீடியோவை ஹை குவாலிட்டியில் போடுவோம். அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் எங்களுடைய சபையின் நிகழ்ச்சிகள் ஒவ்வொன்றும், எங்களுடைய சபை ஆராதனைகள் யூடியூப்ல உங்களுக்கு வரும். அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் நீங்கள் எங்களை ஃபேஸ்புக்லையும் ஃபாலோ பண்ணலாம். நீங்கள் இதை தொடர்ந்து வாட்ஸ்அப்ல பெற விரும்பினால் நீங்கள் கீழே தெரிகிற வாட்ஸ்அப் நம்பர்ல நீங்கள் எங்களுக்கு மெசேஜ் அனுப்புங்க. நிச்சயமாக உங்களுக்கு அனுப்புவோம். இது ஆசீர்வாதமாக இருக்கும். கர்த்தர் உங்களை ஆசீர்வதிப்பாராக.